to basically get whatever it is that they desire and what they're looking for. And so the way I'm looking at it Reverend Crowder is I'm looking at it from the team perspective. And so I'm looking at it saying, okay, what can I do in order to keep this guy on my team? I don't even care really what's going on out there in a way. I'm just focused here on my team. And I know in order to keep him happy, I got to do whatever I got to do to keep him on my team. Because we see literally, we got players now that if they don't want to play, you see with James Harden, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. Simple as that. Like I'm holding out. And it ain't nothing you can do about it. It's sort of like in a way, Reverend Crowder, a slave saying no to his master, but he got the power now. And so it's like, wow, we have no leverage if the athletes don't want to play. And so it's very interesting, but I'm looking at it like, man, if I got to do whatever I got to do to keep this guy on my team, I'm doing that, period. And that's where it's at. And so just curious, world, anybody got any comments? I want to hear comments from anybody on what they think. Good morning, Deshaun. Good morning. On this situation. Deshaun, what do you think about this situation? Because for us, I know you're a Steelers fan, but for us, Roquan Smith is kind of a big deal. If we lose Roquan Smith, Reverend Crowder, I don't know where our defense is going to be. I mean, we got a few bright lights on the defense, but really, they haven't been as bright as late, right? And I mean, our safety, that's my guy, Alabama guy. But really, since that playoff year, he hasn't done much of anything, really.
Yeah.
Right? Defensive line, Robert Quinn had a great year last year, Reverend Crowder, right? He stood out, a lot of good sacks, things of that nature. We hoping he could replicate that because 2 years ago, he was a big disappointment.
He was.
We gave him a lot of money. And he didn't do nothing that first year. And then he came out of nowhere this year and surprised everybody. So we hoping that he could be a bright light again and replicate that. Hopefully that wasn't a dud, And so keeping Roquan there, Bears have always had that tradition of great linebackers. And so, doing whatever we can, man, and try to keep that guy happy because he's a big pillar with that franchise. And so, guys, any more thoughts before we move on?
No.
Okay. All right. Yep. So, last weekend, we gave our viewers our list of Reverend Crowder. We gave them our top 8 quarterbacks and wide receivers headed into the NFL season. And so we want to put you on the chopping block. We want to put you on the spotlight, Reverend Crowder. And so I want to ask you before we go naming other skill positions, because last week I stated with our skill positions, we named our quarterbacks and our wide receivers. We did 8 of them. But we kind of dumbed it down. It's because we're doing different skill positions. But I want to ask you, Reverend Crowder, just out of curiosity, who are your top 3, or you can give me your top 5. It's up to you. Give me your top quarterbacks in the game and why. And can you give me that like right now, or like you need some time, or what?
No, I watched this. So NFL is it's a quarterback league. You gotta have somebody that can handle that offense for you, that can move the ball and that can put points on the board and keep the defense off the field. And so it doesn't take me long to give you at least 3. And it's kind of hard for me because my top 3 guys, there's about 4 that I really like. But and I'm trying to rank them for me is tough. I think I'm going to go number 1 with Patrick Mahomes because he is young. This is a young man's sport, right? Yep. You once you get older, the game catches up to you. and those kids on defense running around, they're able to get there and really make you look like you're old. And so I'm going to go with the young guy, Patrick Mahomes. He has a 49-13 record. Oh, and that Super Bowl. So that doesn't hurt either. Really smart, got a good arm, understands the game, and he plays with everything in front of him. So the game is not that fast for him. He's able to really compute it and make it happen. So I'm gonna go with Mahomes as my number one guy. I think 2 and 3 is a toss-up for me. It's the older guys, Brady and Rodgers. And I guess I would go with Tom Brady because he's done it. He's got all those Super Bowls. He left New England, went down to Tampa, got a Super Bowl. And so that's not an easy thing to do, to win championships like that. And so you think over the last 2 seasons as he's been with the Bucs, he's top 3 in pass attempts, yards, and touchdowns in each of his last 2 seasons with the Bucs. Oh, and he's got all those Super Bowls. So that for me carries a lot of weight. Because you think about just winning in the NFL a week or week to week is not easy. Ask Detroit, they'll tell you it's not easy. And so I like Tom. I like Tom. And then Aaron Rodgers. What can you say, right? I mean, he's a bad man. He's a bad man. Back-to-back MVP. And that arm for me is still scary. As a defense, if I'm going out there, I'm getting nervous when I see this guy trot out there. I'm a little nervous because you think his record over the last 3 seasons, he's won 13 games each of the last 3 seasons. He is still a threat. And I'm concerned. If I'm a defensive coordinator, if I'm a defensive back coach, I'm scared of this guy. And I'm really trying to figure out how to contain him and kind of how to hold him to a little of nothing, which is kind of, he's gonna get his numbers, right? He's gonna get his numbers.
Right, Reverend Crowder, though, I hate to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now you realize you're on the Chicago Bears podcast here, right?
Look, brothers, I call balls and strikes, right? I mean, that's just, I gotta do that. And I love my young core. I love Fields, right? That's my guy. But we know we got some work to do there, right? Yeah, he's coming. Sure. He's gonna get there. He is. I believe that. He's got his legs and that arm. He's gonna get there. So I get that. But I just have to call it. Like I see it.
Right, so you got to call it like. Let me ask you this though. In regards to A-Rod. Do you view him as a top 3 quarterback when the postseason hits in January?
Well, gosh,
it's tough.
Yeah, because we know anything can happen. That's a new season, right? That's how when I played my coach.
A new season for him,
right? It's you've got the preseason, you got the regular season, then you go into that final season, the playoffs, and everybody in there is obviously pretty good. So anything can happen. And so I think he is. I think he's a dangerous man. And I think he can flat out take it all the way to the house at any given moment. So that makes him dangerous. But now you can be a great quarterback, but you got to have some supporting cast around. You got to have a defense that's able to help you out there, put you in a position to be successful. So I'm going with A-Rod. I think he's I'm still, I use the word scared and I use that word loosely, but he concerns me. Let me say that he would concern me in the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. I just asked because I know in the playoffs he's always concerned about the other team, which causes him to lose. And so anywho, Reverend Crowder, why not Josh Allen? A lot of people right now, my guys on the podcast, they love this guy. I feel like Josh Allen for me got some more proving to do, just at least in comparison to the other 3 guys you named. You
What
know,
happened, and what happened to Josh down the stretch of last season? He started out, if I remember correctly, he was pretty hot, right? I mean, he had a hot arm and he was getting it done and was winning games. And I think he go to Tennessee and did some. I mean, he was doing damage throughout that first and second part of the season. Something happened to him though late, and I think that I don't know if the game caught up with him. Defenses in the NFL, you give them time, they're going to figure you out. That's one thing we have to take into account. But Josh is he's a top 5 quarterback. And if I was building a team, he would be certainly, I'd be knocking on his door to see if he'd come, quarterback it. So he's good. He's good. Not scary to me, but he concerns me. I'm not scared of him, right? But I would be concerned playing him, especially if he's hot. Because if he gets hot, man, oh man, you got problems on your hands over there.
Yeah, he got hot again in Kansas City in the divisional round. He got hot, and so I'm like, wow. I'm like, I've never seen this Josh Allen ever. And Jamar and Ian were like, this is who he is. And so for me, I am looking forward to seeing Josh Allen this season and just seeing y'all where he really is. And can he be the top quarterback? Because as stated, a lot of people out there believe he is the top quarterback in football. For me, Reverend Crowd, I don't think he's better than Patty Mahomes. So I don't think he's better than A-Rod or Tom Brady. And so we'll see what happens with that. And so with that being said, Jamar, if you're ready, we were naming our top skill guys. And as you remember last week, we did our quarterbacks and receivers. Right. So Reverend Crowder, you could chime in as well. But now we're going to name our top backs in the league. And so top 5. And I hope, excuse me, Reverend Crowder, but I damn sure hope that ain't nobody finna name Christian McCaffrey. Please, if not, we finna not go by. Shut all this down if somebody finna name.
Are we?
He's not on my list.
Hey, Brandon, are we going by last season, or are we just going by period?
This ain't all time. This is just heading into the 22-23 campaign, bro.
Okay.
So Yep. So all right, Jamar, bro. You could go ahead and you can, give us your top 5, man.
I was getting ready to give you a heart attack too.
Yeah, give him one. Give him one, because I'm gonna one too.
All right, you know what? Let's do it. All right, so number 5, with all due respect, I'm gonna put him there, Mr. Christian McCaffrey, just based on what I've seen when healthy. I'm gonna give him that. Yeah, I know the last couple of seasons, I get that, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that the man can't play when he's everything and a bag of chips out there when he's just doing his thing. He is the offense of the Carolina Panthers. So I'm not gonna disregard that at all. Number 4, I got number 41 in New Orleans, Alvin Kamara. I mean, he is exceptional. Since his rookie year, he's made it known that he is here to stay. He can actually run in between the tackles. He's electric in the passing game, as well as his ball carrying vision in between the tackles and his explosiveness in the open field. So he is very, very, very good. Number 3, and he'd probably be a little higher too if he wasn't always injury prone like number 5, but Dalvin Cook. Like every time I see him with the ball, it is pure explosiveness. Like if the eye test, he passes the eye test with flying colors. This man is electric. I feel like every time he hits a hole, he's getting 7-8 yards. Every time when he catches the ball, he's going down at least 10-15 yards down the field. Like, and then with this upcoming season, with their new coach having some parts of that Ram scheme, if he's healthy, he might lead the league in rushing yards this year. Number 2 and 1 is interesting. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the 1 of 1 guy. I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry at number 2 right now.
Oh,
yep. I'm gonna go with him at number 2.
I knew his 1 and 2 is AFC South, Reverend Crowder.
Yeah, and it's not even a knock against Derrick Henry, because I mean, we never seen anything like the man at all. I mean, he was supposed to have been out for the season, yet he comes back in the playoff game that Ryan Tannehill, gave away. But nevertheless, I mean, this dude's a freak of nature. Who is really that big that can run that fast and that can be durable as long as he did until last year? So, like I said, there's no knocking against Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry. But number one, it might be recency bias, but this man here, like, it seems like he's a total package, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, one play, I've seen it many times ever since week 4 last year. One play, and like each game has changed the whole dynamic of the game for the Indianapolis Colts. And if it wasn't for him, the Colts wouldn't even be relevant right now. The offense is predicated on Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is proven. Jonathan Taylor is still coming into his prime. Jonathan Taylor, ball carrying vision. Jonathan Taylor, open field. Jonathan Taylor in the passing game. Jonathan Taylor run blocking. Jonathan Taylor make guys miss on one cuts. I mean, the man can do it all, and he's pretty young. So that's my top 5.
Yeah. All right. Yep. I don't know why you put Christian after here, but all right. Ian, who's your top 5, bro?
This is tough. Me and Jamar, top 5 might be a little similar. At 5, I only got him at 5 because he's young and just coming into his own. So I got Jonathan Taylor at 5. It was hard putting him at 5 because there's a lot of people I could put at 5. I feel like I'm disrespecting, Nick Chubb. We got Joe Mixon. It's so many. Ezekiel Elliott.
You are disrespectful for putting Christian McCaffrey in the top 4 of your running backs.
It's so many. But I got Jonathan Taylor at 5. I'm finna give you a heart attack again. I got Christian McCaffrey at 4. I mean, he can do it. He can do it all, man. He can do it all. Barring injury, he can do it all. I'll give him another year, to stay healthy. But if he don't stay healthy this year, he'll definitely fall out of my top 5. He's a personal favorite for me as well. This number 3, he might be my favorite running back. I got Alvin Kamara. He's just different. I think my number one thing with Alvin is his balance is crazy. I don't even think I've ever seen a football player with his kind of balance. And that's saying a lot. Like, I've seen him stay on his feet and not be fazed by a lot, which is crazy. I think his balance is crazy. Number 2 is I got Dalvin Cook. And number 1 is, I mean, with all due respect, is King Henry. He's like a video game character, dude. It's crazy. And as much as he does with the ball and how much he runs with the ball, I still don't even think he runs hard like he should, which is crazy. He's 6'4", 250, 240, probably almost 260. And when he get downhill, you got to make a business decision. It's either you're going to be out for a couple weeks or you going to let him get them 8 yards. Because he's coming.
Right.
He's coming.
Yeah.
So that'll be my top 5.
Wow.
Yeah. And just a second, Reverend Crowder. Good morning, Prescott JB. He stated that Jimmy G is better than A-Rod in January in recent years. And so, in other words, Prescott JB is saying, how are we going to put A-Rod in the top 3 of anything in January when Jimmy G is better than him? And so I can kind of see your point. Prescott JB. By the way, Reverend Crowder, Prescott JB is an avid Bears fan. So, okay.
There you go. All right.
And so, Reverend Crowder, in this case, chime in, man. Who you got for your top 5? Your top 5 running backs?
Little bit off there with my number 5. This is a young man's game, right? And especially with these running backs, you get a lot of miles on those legs, and things start to go downhill pretty quick for you. And so I looked at it, and I like this young kid. He's not a kid; he's a young man. But Najee Harris, I'm going with him at number 5. Over 1,200 yards in his rookie season. Was a Pro Bowl replacement for Mixon. I like it. I like him. I like the way he approaches preparation. I like the way that he approaches the game. Doesn't hurt that he's an SEC guy, right? Out of that school down south, Alabama. And I'm expecting big things from him this year. And so I'm going with Najee as number 5. Let's watch him, see what he does. Number 4, I've got Cook. Even though he's been injured. But I like the way he runs. If I was building a team, I definitely would want him on my roster, and I'd want him on the field. He's got a new coaching staff coming there to Minnesota. He's a Pro Bowler, Southern guy from Opelika, Florida. So you got to watch those guys. They usually can do it and do it right. So I've got him at number 4. Of course, number 3, I've got Kamara. He's a survivor. That's what I like about him. When you look at his resume, that he started at Alabama, then went to that JUCO, and then came to my home state. Went to the home state, Tennessee Volunteer. He's the real deal. Yeah. What everyone has said about him today, this morning, I totally agree and I get it. So I've got him at number 3. Very easy could be, number 2. So I like Kamara. Now, my number 2, another SEC guy, Georgia guy, hard to tackle. I'm going with Chubb. Yeah, I'm going with Chubb for my number 2. I just think he's the truth. I think he's the real deal. And then, of course, I'm going with my number 1 is Derrick Henry. And his resume speaks for itself. He missed roughly almost half of the last season, and still clocked 4,500 yards. Right. So this guy, with all of that, is still he is the man. And just when you think it's going to be interesting this season, I know he's worked extremely hard in the off season, but I'm looking forward to see what he's able to do coming off of the injury, having that off season to train, and I think he's probably even more motivated and more determined to make people pay and to punish people, and to use all of the skills that he has to do it. I think he's ready to bring it one more time. So those are my top 5 guys.
Man, I must say, Jamar, Ian, and Reverend Crowder, you guys make a fantastic team. I feel like with your analysis, I feel like I've just learned a lot. Like, I feel like I've been educated on literally who are the top backs in the league. And you guys eloquently stated all of this. This is great, man. Jamar, I just want to know, man, why are people sleep on Jonathan Taylor not being the best back in the league? Did you feel like he got more work to do, like compared to King Henry's resume, or what?
I mean, I take it because he's young.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And I get it. Like, I mean, if I wake up for the next 2 weeks, I mean, I'm probably flip-flopping, but I feel like, Taylor, I feel like I just want to let people know that he is the real deal. Like, this is not a fluke. Mm-hmm. He was productive in his college career at Wisconsin. I mean, he's in a right situation. He's actually taking advantage of that situation. With Matt Ryan there, is actually going to make him a lot better, because I feel like Matt Ryan's a lot better quarterback than Wentz. And as you know, if you have a good quarterback with a running game, they work off each other. So yeah, I just want to give Jonathan Taylor his due in case, people think it's a fluke. I don't think it is.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you. He's the truth. And so, yeah, guys, quickly, I know the world probably don't care as much who my top 5 is after we got these wonderful top 5 being named. But I got Nick Chubb as number 5. Nick Chubb, man, this guy, for me, the reason why he's in my top 5, Reverend Crowder, is because he carries that team. Like, no disrespect to the wide receivers in Cleveland, and no disrespect to Baker Mayfield, But really what's been carrying that franchise, man, has been Nick Chubb. This guy is a man amongst boys on that field. And he some people should be naming him as, like you just did, number 2. He deserves that technically because Dalvin Cook's injured a lot. Alvin Kamara, he's great, but Nick Chubb, man, this guy carries that whole franchise. And in Cleveland, they are relevant literally because of him, and also a little bit because of Kareem Hunt, but he got to stay healthy. But Nick Chubb, man, a man amongst boys. For Alvin Kamara, when I watch Alvin Kamara, it's like poetry in motion. It is so beautiful to watch, guys. Like, I feel like we're watching Alvin Kamara. I see him do that right, that right knee to go up in the air, y'all. And he's kind of deciding the way he want to go. And then he turns a whole different direction on you. That man, just watching him is a beautiful thing. And I love watching him play football. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Dalvin Cook. What can I say about Dalvin Cook that's not, only thing I can say with Dalvin Cook, y'all, is I wish he stayed more healthy. Yep. But watching him, he's a grown man. Watching him, he is strong. He is fast. He is great out the backfield. He's great catching the ball. He's great in between the line. He can run you over. Dalvin Cook can do it all. And I'm just waiting to see him just really, really blossom, because I feel like really with Dalvin Cook, this might sound a little crazy. I feel like he haven't even reached his potential yet. That's how good I feel. And here we are talking about him as a top 3, potential top 5 running back. But I felt like, honestly, Dalvin Cook really haven't even reached his potential. But number 2, I got Jonathan Taylor. And the reason why I got Jonathan Taylor is because he's another guy carrying the franchise. No disrespect to our boy last year in Indianapolis. But, Wisconsin, man, they produced, that's a running back factory. You want to be a great running back, go to Wisconsin. You want to be a great offensive lineman, go to Wisconsin. They do that, and that's their brand. And Jonathan Taylor is another product, man. This guy carrying this franchise. He's a beauty to watch as well. You can tell he puts in a lot of work behind the scenes, y'all. Like the weight room, that type of stuff. And so I'm looking forward to him having another great year. And the great part about him is he's young. But the reason why I didn't put Jonathan Taylor above Derrick Henry as my number 1 running back is because Derrick Henry has proven it over and over again. I hope that on ESPN or wherever these other places are, these other podcasts, etc., that they don't diss Derrick Henry, they don't put him number 5 or number 3, because I think Derrick Henry, Jamar, is the type of guy, if he sees that, that's going to make him mad. And that's going to make him mad to where when the season comes, somebody's going to begin throwing 5 yards again. And so, you ask Josh Norman, you ask linebackers, you ask defensive linemen, you ask nose tackles what it's like to tackle Derrick Henry. And I'm probably thinking that it's not the easiest of tackles to make. And so this guy is a man amongst boys. He has done it for so long. Derrick Henry, for me, man, just in my opinion, he's the best running back I've ever seen. And that's no disrespect to Sweetness or Emmett or these other great running backs, but just off of what I've watched on TV for my lifetime, not YouTube highlights, not none of that, y'all. I'm just saying what I've watched physically live on TV. Derrick Henry has been the best running back I've seen that I've watched on television. I don't put him as the greatest running back of all time, but he got to start getting that mention too. I'm just saying. And so, yeah. All right, fellas. Somebody about to say something?
I said bold statement.
Yeah. I think he should start getting that mention at least of an all-time great running back. This guy, look at his resume, y'all. Look at it. He might not be the greatest of all time according to some people, but to some people, and he might be. And so, like this man, he's done a lot. He's done a lot.
I mean, keep putting up numbers and, you stay healthy.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
And,
man,
and if the Titans go deep, the Titans can get hot, if they can get that quarterback situation worked out there. They could really, kind of be scary there. And, it doesn't hurt when you go deep, and when actually, if you win a Super Bowl, that helps too. And so watch out.
That's the one thing missing for him, Reverend Crowder.
Mhm.
He get him a Super Bowl, you got to start mentioning this guy for real. Like, he get him a Super Bowl, and don't let him get an MVP or something. Like, you got to really start seriously mentioning this guy for real. He's put in that work. All right, Jamar. Tight ends. And there's two of them, man. It's really darn good. And so, who's your top 5 tight ends going into the season?
I feel like tight end is feel like that position is starting to get a little deeper in the last couple of years. Talent is starting to come.
Year after year.
And so number 5, I'm gonna go with Hall of Fame Kyle Pitts. That's what they, named him as he coming out the draft, Hall of Fame Kyle Pitts. I mean,
nasty.
If with that horrific season that the Atlanta Falcons had last year, I'm pretty sure the man went over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Which is crazy, because you wouldn't even think that would have happened based off you watching them play. It was terrible. But I mean, this man is explosive. I mean, he's every bit worth of the talent level that he was drafted at. Not saying that they probably should have taken him, but I get it. I do. I feel like he's gonna have a golden opportunity to show a lot more with that, especially with no Calvin Ridley this year. He's going to be the primary target outside of Drake London. I think it's just really those two that's actually going to get all the targets. So you're going to actually see him on forefront on that. And with an Arthur Smith offense with Mariota there, I mean, Mariota used to target Delaney Walker and turned him into a stud. So I'm curious to see what he's going to do with Kyle Pitts on that one, needless to say. Number 4, I got the guy in black and silver, Darren Waller. Now, I know last year was injury prone for the man, but I mean, from what I've seen so far, I mean, he's outrunning DBs.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's a physical freak.
He is. It's like he's faster than linebackers, faster than DBs, and a lot bigger. I mean, this man can average double-digit touchdowns every year if they really wanted to. I mean, he's that good. He's that good. 3, I'm gonna go with the guy in the Bay Area, George Kittle, as of right now. I mean, that man is a dog. He is a straight dog. But I know injuries have, compromised him a couple of times here and there. But I mean, when you get that man out in the open field, I mean, just like it's kind of similar to tackling Derrick Henry, right? You got to make a business decision. I've seen this man like toss people left and right out of bounds, just keep it moving. I still remember that play he did in New Orleans to win the game, basically, to set him up for that.
Right. I remember that, man. I'll never forget that play.
At all. Because I'm sitting here thinking like the Niners were done, and then all of a sudden that happened, and that was it. But yeah, definitely I got Kittle at 3. 2, I'm just giving flowers to Mark Andrews, because I feel like, that man a little bit forgotten, maybe not from a fantasy standpoint, because people love him there, but the fact that he plays in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson's favorite target, but that man has been really productive. I mean, all he does is, score touchdowns and be consistent. That's all he's been doing so far. And I feel like in order for the Baltimore Ravens to, get back to, how we envisioned them for the last few years, I mean, Mark Andrews got to be a big part of that. And then number 1, I got Travis Kelsey. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer just waiting to happen. It's like what honestly, like, there's not too much I can really say that you already don't know about Travis Kelsey.
Yeah.
So that's my top 5.
Man. He's another all-timer. Ian, your top 5, bro.
Another, it's tough picking these guys, man. So yeah, like Jamar, at 5, I got, Kyle Pitts. He's young stud, just a freak. I mean, he's just a mismatch. I mean, technically, he has he's basically a receiver playing tight end. So he's just a mismatch all over the field. DBs can barely stick him. Linebackers is not even a question. So he's definitely gonna be a sight to see in Atlanta. you would like to see him, get a better quarterback, get a better team around him, but he's definitely going to probably be their number one option right now. 4 is tough. 4 is tough, but I got Mark Andrews at 4. Very consistent. That offense runs through him in Baltimore. Without him in Baltimore, I don't know where they would be as an offense. 3, I got Darren Waller. He's a physical freak, another mismatch. Like you say, he's out running linebackers, DBs. Besides last year with the injuries, I think I had him on my fantasy team the year before last. He had about 12, 13 touchdowns. Like, he's just a freak. He would be the number one option, but, they got a couple, big pickups this offseason. So from him having Devontae Adams, he'll probably have another big year because, you can't double him and double Devontae. So he'll probably have a big year this year, barring injury. I might shock you guys with this one. At 2, I got Travis Kelsey. Travis, he's just special. He's not the fastest, but his route running is amazing. And he got him and Pat. They just make magic. They make magic every weekend. Literally every weekend they make magic. So I got him at 2. And number 1, I got George Kittle. And I got George Kittle at number 1 simply because he's going to block as well. He's going to get in the trenches. He going to block. He going to get that running game going. And then, boom, he comes in that passing game. And he's just as lethal as Travis Kelsey. His route running might not be
right
the same as Travis Kelsey, but he going to get down the trenches. He going to get dirty. And he going to catch that ball, and he going to get nasty when he get that ball, too. Like you said, on that 4th down, he going to get that stiff arm. He going to juke you. He might even run past, So
right
I got George Kittle at number 1.
Yeah, Reverend Crowder, your top 5 tight ends.
Yeah, at number 5, I've got Kittle. I went with George Kittle, 900 yards last season, which is productive. So I'm looking at production, and so that's not bad. That's where we want to be. He's a Big Ten guy. I like that, and I think for Kittle, he benefits from Shanahan's ability to get him in mismatches.
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot. Shanahan is really, he's a good
Great
offensive mind. And so he's able to, just get him set and get him in places where they can get the ball to him. So I like Kittle at number 5. Number 4, I've got Dalton Schultz. I've got Schultz.
Cowboy.
Cowboys. 800 yards last season. He's a Stanford guy, so he's smart, right? Played for David Shaw, one of the D1 black coaches. Shaw's a great coach.
Very great.
Does it at Stanford. Could be an NFL head coach, and could have any number of jobs if he wanted. But he stays out there where you got to have a 3,000 SAT score and all that stuff to get in there.
For sure.
So I like Schultz. I like what Shaw did for him when he was at Stanford, and what he's doing down there with Dak and Cowboys. So I've got him at number 4. Number 3, I've got Kyle Pitts. I've got Pitts over 1,000 yards. I think it was 1,026 yards to be exact. SEC guy, followed him when he was down there at Florida. Amazing guy. Made the Pro Bowl on a bad team, right? On a bad team. And he was the first tight end to do that in 20 years. So I've got him at number 3. Number 2, I've got Waller. Just a physical specimen. The numbers were okay-ish, considering injuries and stuff. 665 yards last season, 55 catches, only 2 touchdowns, but he's good. Southern guy, doesn't hurt. I think he's from Cobb County, Georgia. They play good football down there. So I like Waller. I think he went to Georgia Tech, so he's smart as well. You got to be smart. When I came out of high school in 1987, Georgia Tech wouldn't even take my phone calls. So I like Waller. And then, of course, at number one, I've got Kelsey. Over 1,100 yards, 11 TDs. I agree with what everyone has said about him. He just has a knack, as the late Tom Landry would say, there's a knack of getting into the right place to be able to make a play for his quarterback. And so love that ability. Love the chemistry between he and Mahomes. And so I've got him at number one.
Yeah, guys, these are great lists. Deshaun, man, you on? Give us your top 5 lists as well for the tight ends. Just see where you are. Yeah, number 5 for me, I got Mark Andrews, and I was battling between him and Kyle Pitts because both of these guys, they are fantastic football players. But the reason why I put Kyle above him really was because of the eye test. And so Mark Andrews, however, number 5, this guy's very productive. Every time I look up, I see him dumping a football with a purple uniform on, just doing this. And so that means he's scoring touchdowns. That means he's being very productive, and he is the best friend of Lamar Jackson. Sit here and think, really, no disrespect to the core of wide receivers. And I know they got a little explosive guy in Baltimore. We know who this guy is. But, the little guy, he kind of benefits from Mark Andrews because Mark Andrews, you got to seriously game plan on this guy. But he still gets it done. He's a man amongst boys out there, and he gets dirty. That's one thing I love about Mark Andrews. But I got Kyle Pitts at number 4, and it's because of the eye test. Kyle Pitts is so explosive, man. I love that stat you brought up, Reverend Crowder, about Kyle Pitts, 20 years, being a Pro Bowler his rookie year on a bad team. And when you look at Kyle Pitts, you just look at him. Him and Darren Waller, they just kind of remind me of each other a lot. Very explosive guys, very physical guys. These guys are freak of natures, and they're just mismatches. But I can't put Kyle Pitts there at the top yet because he got some stiff competition that's in his top 3. Above him, though, and the reason why I picked Darren Waller is simply because of longevity and because I've seen him do it more consistently. I feel like Darren Waller is that tight end wherein if you're on the 1-yard line, right? I feel like if you throw him the ball, he can take it 99 the other way. That might sound crazy, y'all, for a tight end.
No, not at all.
That's how athletic this dude is. I feel like him or Kyle Pitts, they could take the ball 99 on you. Run past your defensive backs, run past your linebackers, your defensive ends, whomever. Run past everybody, even run past the referees. Of course, that's easy to run past the referees.
Not all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
You got a couple out there that not
like they just retired.
Hey, yeah, some of the referees do be athletic. He be down at the end zone before the tight ends. But yeah. Like, dang, look at that referee. He's getting up, man. Like,
throw him the ball next time.
Right. Man.
All right, y'all, we got to do a list of our top 5 referees.
Oh, man.
Episode of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. But, yeah, man. Darren Waller, I feel like you get this guy the ball, he can take it 99 on you for real. But George Kittle and Travis Kelsey, y'all, I got them as 1A and 1B. Because I feel like with either one of these guys and both of them, I feel like they are both all-time greats. It is a pleasure watching both of these guys. George Kittle, Jamar, as a story, bro, I was in my car, y'all, listening to this New Orleans Saints and San Francisco 49ers game. And so me and my wife, we listening to the game. And I'm like, oh, yeah, New Orleans got him, man. They got him. And out of nowhere, George Kittle catch the ball. And I'm like, all right, they tackled him. Then I look up and I'm driving and I'm like, they haven't tackled him yet. I'm like, he's still running. I'm like, wait, he's still running. And I'm like, wait, he's still running. And so I'm like, wow, like, and then I got home and I'm like, I gotta go to YouTube here. I gotta take a look at this. And when I looked at it, I'm like, you serious? He did that? So that shows you just how much of a man this guy George Kittle is. And so I'm looking at him and I'm saying, like, San Francisco's success, a lot of it, no disrespect to Jimmy G, Eastern Illinois guy, Prescott JB, I know you're a guy, but George Kittle, man, plays a big role in that team's success. He's very reliable, very tough. He will get dirty. He will knock you clean off your butt. He would do whatever it takes to win, and I love that about him. But Travis Kelsey is my number one. He's my 1A, and because with Travis Kelsey, man, like this dude, his route running, his hands, I can't really ever, outside of a bad throw to him, I can't. In my years, I say the last 5 years, remember him dropping a pass. Travis Kelsey, it's a pleasure to watch him. And so for time's sake, I could say a lot about him. I'm gonna just keep him as my 1A. So that is my top 5 tight ends. All right. Guys, we got one more top 5 before we get into basketball. We can be quick with this. It's up to y'all. But right now, guys, I need to get your top 5 contenders to reach in or win the Super Bowl. And so your top 5 contenders. And by the way, Deshaun Reed Sr., he stated his list is Jamar's from 5 to 1 in the same order. And so his list is very similar to Jamar's. Okay. Yep. And so all right. Appreciate it, Deshaun. And so Jamar, again, if you could start us off, bro. Because this is another big burning question. Who are the top 5 contenders to reach and win the Super Bowl this season? And so you can start us off, bro.
Man, look, the 5th one, might raise some eyebrows. I'm stuck. I'm literally stuck between 2 teams at 5. For me, it's the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
Yep. And I feel like Baltimore is going to be legit this year based on what they've done in the offseason. I know they got rid of Hollywood Brown, but from the draft picks, so they usually draft pretty well, from Kyle Hamilton to getting a healthy Lamar Jackson back, healthy J.K. Dobbins back.
Marcus Peters.
Yep. Like the whole shebang. I think they even added a few more people on their defense I can't think of right now. So I think they're getting back to their identity. So I'm a believer in the Baltimore Ravens. And more so with Kansas City is just, I really feel like not having Tyreek Hill there is a major thing. Because I get it, you got all these speed demons out there, but we know Tyreek is different. The eye test lets you know Tyreek is different. Tyreek Hill is the reason why they even won against Buffalo last year in the playoffs. So that's why I'm at with that. Number 4, I got the team that beat him in the playoffs with your favorite guy, Eli Apple. I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like
my favorite guy, that's your favorite guy, Jamar.
Excuse me?
Y'all got to chill on my Ohio State buddy, man.
I'm changing my profile picture to that burnt toast image. That's what I'm about to do. That's exactly what's about to happen after this show. So with the Bengals, in all seriousness, though, they made it that far. They was maybe a half a second to a second away from actually winning the Super Bowl, in my opinion, if Burrow had that extra second to find Chase one last time with a bad offensive line. They did this with a bad offensive line. They addressed that between the draft, between getting Buddy from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And not to mention, all these people are young. So I would imagine all of them are going to take a progression, a step forward this year as well. So defense was already, was solid to begin with, some flaws here and there, but I'm not going to mention his name again. But nevertheless, I feel like this team is hungry. I don't think it's a Super Bowl hangover. I think they're going to be legit in that tough division that they're in. Number 3, I got Tampa Bay, and I'm like saying this like hesitantly because 4 offensive linemen have changed between injuries, retirements, and free agency. Tom Brady's in trouble. That man's 45 years old. 40 times, probably a 7-something right now. I'm scared for the guy, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt right now because at all odds, I've seen him do things that a lot of other guys can't even dream about doing. Number 2, I got the Buffalo Bills. I feel like they are the best team in the AFC right now. Their offense is legit. Their defense is legit by adding, they added a pass rusher in Von Miller, which they really didn't need to, but they did so anyway. They did that. They added O.J. Howard. They added another tight end where they already got Dawson Knox. And now they're trying to get OBJ, and we'll see what happens with that. But nevertheless, drafted James Cook. Josh Allen, to me, won that game against Kansas City, but Travis Kelsey happened. But nevertheless, I think this team is poised and ready to take off. And then number 1, I do have the Rams. I mean, you added Allen Robinson, who we know here in Chicago is a legit number 1 when he actually has a quarterback, and he never had a quarterback really his whole career until now. So you got that, Cooper Kupp, you got a healthy Cam Akers. You added Bobby Wagner. Let's not forget about that. You still got Jalen Ramsey. You still got Aaron Donald swinging helmets out here. So, Lord and behold, be ready for that ferocious beast in the Los Angeles Rams.
Sitting there looking yesterday, Jim, I'm like, is that a helmet in his hand? Like, how he grabbed that off that grown man head? Like,
2 of them.
Oh man,
That dude is a beast, man.
Literally.
all right, that's your top 5, bro?
Yeah, that's my top 5.
And what's your top 5, bro? Who you got?
Tough, but I'll stick to the script. At 5, I might surprise you guys with this one. If they can stay healthy and they coach get them on the right track, I got not San Diego. The Chargers. I got the Chargers at 5. Got the Chargers at 5. They added Khalil Mack. You got Keenan Allen. You got Jay Herbo over there. He threw for 5,000 yards last year. They don't make the playoffs, which is crazy. Austin Eckler, he kind of do it all. Derwin James, he stayed healthy. Probably the best safety in the league to me. They got the players to get it done. It's just about, just making it happen. Just about making it happen. So I got them at 5. 4, I got Tampa Bay as well. They got the athletes over there. Like Jamar stated, if the O-line is subpar or okay, I feel like they can make a run to NFC. Anything is possible with, terrific Tom back there at quarterback. Then they add Julio Jones as potentially a 3rd receiver. That's insane. If he stay healthy, that's insane. 3, I got Kansas City. Another young quarterback up there, Pat. Anything is possible with Patrick Mahomes. Interested to see, how this receiving core does. But Andy Reid's a great offensive mind. They did lose the Honey Badger. So I am kind of concerned about that. But they should be fine. I got Cincinnati at 2, to be honest. I got Cincinnati at 2. Better offensive line. They young, coming back. They look hungry. Barring injury, hopefully they don't have any injuries. Barring injuries, they should be back in that division. You got the Ravens, but I got to see how the Ravens do as far as offensive wise. I know they're gonna put 8 in the box on Lamar every week, and they got JK coming back. So I think the Bengals should be back in that division. The Steelers is kind of up in the air with their quarterback situation, and the Browns are too. With the Deshaun situation. So the Bengals, if they want to go back to the Super Bowl, this will be the year. Now, any year past that, I don't know. And of course, number 1, you got the other dogs in LA, the Rams, Aaron Donald, the picture of him with the 2 helmets.
Boy.
That says everything about the Rams right now.
Iconic.
So yeah, that's my top 5.
All right. Yep. Yeah, Reverend Crowder. I'm very interested in your list with me, and your list was very interesting. Reverend Crowder, you got a top 5.
I do, and I had a tough time with this. And in fact, number 5, I really had a 3-way tie for that number 5 spot. And so I'm gonna cheat a little bit. If that's okay. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I like Buffalo, Tennessee, Cincinnati. I don't know who's gonna come out of that because there's a lot that we don't know in terms of injuries, in terms of just guys getting hot. But I think you've got to watch. Those 3 teams. I think they got a legitimate shot to go all the way. I think they have a shot to go all the way. Number 4, I've got the Rams. Hopefully, I know they had the tackle to retire, that left tackle that had been there forever. That they got that piece figured out, and so yeah, I've got them at number 4. Number 3, I've got Green Bay. I just again, Rodgers is there. I know people kind of, some of the folks are kind of like, okay, in January, but I just still think that when you got Rodgers, you got a shot, and so eventually, you know, if he keeps doing it, you're going to have an opportunity to go deep. So watch Green Bay, and so I've got them at 3. Number 2, I've got Tampa Bay, and of course, you know, you've got Brady, Todd Bowles. They got rid of crazy Bruce Arians, right? he's gone, and so I'm interested to see. This is Bowles' second shot at a head coaching job.
Yeah.
And black NFL coach. Where was he at? What was he at, the Jets? I forget where he was.
Yeah. I think he was with the Jets. Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on. So yeah, he was there for a year or 2, but now he was, you know, regrouped Tampa, won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach. And hopefully he brings a different type of energy to the locker room over juxtaposed to how Aaron's conducted himself. And so I like Tampa Bay. I've got them at 2. And then number 1, I've got Kansas City. I've got I've got Mahomes. I thought he had good numbers, right? But you know, something was a little off for me with Mahomes last season. And it may have been that defenses were beginning to kind of
catch on.
Yeah. I think he's going to correct that this year. I think he, the offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, I think they're going to get that figured out. Andy Reid, they're going to get that figured out, and I think they're going to be back where people are scared of them. And I think last season, people, as the season wore on, people were not as afraid of them as they were maybe the year before. So watch out for Kansas City. I've got them at number 1.
Yeah, this is fantastic, guys. Your list. This is fantastic. But for my number 5, and this might drive y'all crazy, but for number 5, the team I got is the entire AFC West. I'm stuck with this division. Got the Raiders, got the Broncos, got the Chargers. Then you got those bad guys in Kansas City. The winner of that division, I feel like y'all is gonna be in the AFC Championship. That's just me. No disrespect to a lot of other great teams, but this AFC West, man, I feel like they should have them on Monday night every week. Just intervine, you know, like.
Yep.
AFC North is another gauntlet, man. And I'm gonna get there shortly. But for number 5, if I had to pick the winner of the AFC West, I'm actually going with the Raiders. The reason why I'm gonna go with the Raiders is I just look at this offense of this team. They're gonna be putting up some points. Like, yeah. I mean, that's just pending health. I don't see a weakness really on that team. They even got some studs on defense. They got some of the fastest defensive backs in football on the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr is highly, highly disrespected. And he's a very good quarterback, very productive. So I got the Las Vegas Raiders, but I still got that whole AFC West, man. I'm very, very eyes glued to the TV in every game in that division. Number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, he does it again and again and again. I put them lower because I'm concerned about their offensive line woes. And we all know, guys, Tom Brady's going to be 45 years old. Reverend Crowder, a 45-year-old ain't got people blocking for him, and he got a 40 time of a 7.5. This could turn out to be very tragic. It could be very tragic.
Yeah.
This could turn out to be the last season for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant, man, but I'm not betting against Tom Brady. So I'm gonna respect him and put him at 4. Number 3, though, I got the Bengals. The reason why I got the Bengals is because I'm just so impressed by this kid, Jamar Chase. He is unstoppable. Generally, like, last year, y'all felt like, okay, teams are like, all right, this is our first time playing this team. They just coming out, nobody ain't got no big eyes on them and nothing like that, off the bat. You know how I go. That first year, people just coming up to par on this team. But I felt like with Jamar Chase, people like at week 5, their last season of his rookie year, Reverend Crowder, they're like, all right, we can't play with him. We can't play with him. You know how the guy in the rec gym, he be wide open and he just hitting all the threes, and everybody like, all right, let me stop playing with him. And you might shut him down. I feel like with this guy, Jamar Chase, they did that week 5, but he's like, you still ain't stopping me. He makes amazing catches. His ability reminds me of like an OBJ Randy Moss all in one. But his speed is just so underrated. But then you got Joe Mixon back there. Joe Mixon, in a lot of people's eyes, is a top 5 running back in football. Yeah. Not to mention Joe Burrow. This kid doesn't fold under any pressure.
Cool.
And so, say it again.
Joe Cool.
Yeah.
Joe Cool. And so Cincinnati, man, the biggest thing with Cincinnati is that they're young. That's the scary part. So this could be something down the road. And so I'm very interested in just the AFC because we got some quarterbacks in the AFC, Reverend Crowder. And speaking of the AFC, number 2, I got the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, another guy. Man, we putting it right here right now in the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. You might want to watch every AFC playoff game because every game going to be lit. Okay? Every game. It ain't going to be no weak game because it is very rarely any weak teams. So Buffalo, I got them as my second contender to reach the Super Bowl. Number 1, I got the Rams. I mean, why would not put anybody else above them? They picked up Allen Robinson, for God's sake. He's a great receiver, if y'all didn't know, but us Bears fans know about him. He just went there. And you still possibly, I don't know, it's not looking good for OBJ in LA, but if they bring him, that's just like, come on. I don't think that'll happen, but if that happens, then I'm going to LA myself, and I'm going to scream at the Rams myself for building a super. Already got a super team, but if they get OBJ there, that's a super duper. And so a lot of people feel they already got a super duper team. And so where's the weakness here? Where? And so LA Rams, number 1, they clearly for me is the best team in football. Buffalo, I don't even know if they can even challenge the Rams. That's how good they are. And so yes. You guys can chime in and give us your top 5. Right now, man, the Rams, they look like they're the clear-cut favorites to win it all again. All right, y'all. If y'all ready, we can progress into some basketball, fellas, and then end with the Misery League of Baseball. All right, but anyway, NBA superstar, y'all, Kevin Durant has posted on his social media that he and the Brooklyn Nets will be moving forward. And so he's come back to Brooklyn, Jamar. And so I'm just curious, Jamar, with KD back on the court, Ben Simmons appearing to be healthy, and a vaccine mandate lifted in New York, which now means that Kyrie Irving can play in Brooklyn, can a Brooklyn Nets be a serious threat to win the NBA Finals? Or is it going to
Okay.
be continuous stuff?
On paper right now, they look serious. But look, there's a few dynamics that probably got to work out here. I mean, for starters, I mean, what about a couple weeks ago? Didn't he go on record and saying like Sean Marks and Steve Nash got to get fired? So we supposed to just come back and like everything's all normal and peachy. No. So if I'm either one of those, like we having a talk immediately. If not, it has to happen before the training camp. You know, that has to get ironed out, like for starters. Second, Ben Simmons. Like, hey, we traded James Harden and got Ben Simmons back. Supposed to play, you didn't play. So that whole dynamic there. First off, is Ben Simmons really gonna play? I'm assuming so, but we never know. Like we never know about Kyrie, but him fitting in, like they got to play together. I would think it'd be more seamless than not based on how Ben Simmons plays. I mean, he's a facilitator. If you let him, run the offense and do his thing, then I mean, it should be easy shots for everybody, right? It should be, but we got to see how that actually plays out. 3, Kyrie Irving. That's the biggest wild card in the whole NBA, right? I mean, Kyrie Irving could come down with the flu and he'll take a month off. I mean, I don't know, man. But I would imagine
he got 6 days, bro.
That man got unlimited PTO. I didn't even know it.
I don't know.
Man, but I would imagine he would have motivation to actually come out and play this year, knowing that it is a contract year and he's trying to get paid again. I would imagine so.
Right.
No, but even before all these shenanigans, they added Royce O'Neal. That right there is actually a pretty good move. Bring back Patty Mills. You got Joe Harris coming back. You got Seth Curry coming back. So you got shooters, you got defenders. More than likely they're gonna start Nick Claxton there. Heard they got interest in Dwight Howard as a backup center. So I mean, they are like on paper, they have the ingredients to be up there, them and Bucks like 1 and 2 right there, Milwaukee number 1 in my opinion. On that one, they on paper, it's just more so them actually doing it and coming together. And is there going to be any cohesion here? If they can set all these differences aside and make everything work, and Ben Simmons is playing at his highest level, Kyrie is actually focused and on the court, and we know Kevin Durant is going to be Kevin Durant. We know who he is. If all those things come together, then yeah, they are serious.
Right. Interesting, Jamar. So you got Bucks as the second team. What about
No.
What
I
about
got Bucks
Boston?
as 1.
Okay, sorry. You got you got the Bucks as the first. You got Brooklyn as the second. So you got Boston third, or who? Because Boston made some good pickups.
They did. In reality, Boston would be second for me. Okay. And Nets would be third, but on paper, it's the other way around for me.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. And what you got, bro? Just in regards to this question, the Nets, can they be a serious contender to win it all with the current roster that they got?
On paper, they can beat anybody. The main thing I think with the Nets is going to be KD's leadership. Can he lead a team, to the finals and get them over the hump? That's going to be their biggest thing this year. How is his relationship with Kyrie Irving now? Does he, I don't know. Does he feel a way about, him kind of bailing on the team last year? I feel like Kyrie Irving is the reason why James Harden left. You guys get James. You guys, in James Harden's view, you guys get me over here. Before I'm this top 3, I'm playing. I'm playing hurt, or I'm still playing, and now you have the chance to play, or just get the vaccine. Which he has his views, and I get that. That's fine. But, we all sacrifice, and it seemed like you don't want to sacrifice. And so now I was like, now we just in this big mess. We just in this big media mess, and, we not performing, as we should. We barely get to the playoffs, and then we get swept. So it's like, who's going to be the true leader of that team? I mean, yeah, they have a coach in Steve Nash. He's still a new head coach. He's never coached before, besides being an assistant coach, but it's a difference, and especially with those big name guys. So I think it just comes down to KD's leadership. Can he finally be a leader? He wasn't really the leader, the top leader in, Golden State. Him and Russ had their issues, I guess, and OKC. And they get to the finals. They were young. But is he going to be able to lead a team, and get them over the hump? It's his time to be a leader, He's not a young KD no more. I think if he can get them over the hump and at least get them to the finals, I feel like Kevin Durant respect level will even go farther than it is now. I mean, he's obviously talent-wise probably the best player in the world. You can argue that all day, every day, but is he going to be that leader to get them over the hump? I think that's their biggest issue. They got all the intangibles. They got all the intangibles to make.
Yeah, that's a good point though, Em, because like KD, I mean, think about it. Outside of Golden State, which he really wasn't the leader, was Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Draymond,
that's his only 2 championships. And outside of that, Reverend Crowder and OKC and Brooklyn, he hasn't done much of anything other than score points and be a great offensive talent. He's come up short a lot. And so, Reverend Crowder, just really quickly, what you think? Can they get it done? Yes or no?
No, I don't think so. I think it's too much drama. And I just don't think it's going to happen. It may start out okay, but everything that you all have mentioned with the conflict, with the virus, with the vaccine mandate, all of that, it's just messy. It's messy. And I just think it's too much drama. Something will happen along the way to mess this thing up. That's kind of how I see it.
I can't even argue with that. No arguments here.
It's like it's sort of like talking like Stephen A. Smith with the Dallas Cowboys. What can go wrong will go wrong. That is Kyrie Irving's story. And outside of LeBron, that's been his story. What can go wrong will go wrong.
It's always something.
It's always
something. Always something.
Find something, just something. And that's that. And so quickly, fellas, NBA role player, Chicago native and 3-and-D point guard Patrick Beverley has signed with the LA Lakers. Do you guys like this move, and does this help this team? And so, Reverend Crowder, what do you think? Do you like this move?
I do. I like it. The Lakers, they won 33 games last year. Lost 49. Beverly has did well, I thought, at Minnesota. Started 54 games, averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I like this. I think this will hopefully, the energy is what we're looking for here. Who can come in there with LeBron and bring the type of positivity to move past all that craziness from last year, the losing. So hey, can't hurt, right? Can it get worse? I hope not. But I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, what you think, bro? I like it too.
I like it, but the one thing is, I like it from an aspect of where he's, like you say, he's going to bring that energy. He's going to bring that energy on defense. He's going to bring that energy to the team. He's going to hold people accountable. Even LeBron is going to hold LeBron accountable. Most importantly, he's going to hold Anthony Davis accountable. He's going to hold everybody accountable. He might not be
that's facts, bro.
He might not be the defensive player he was at one point, but he's going to bring that energy. He's going to bring that leadership. He's that player, like everybody say, you hate to play against him, but you love when he's your teammate. So he'll bring that energy. The one thing I am concerned about is, are they going to keep Russ? Because I know him and Russ have they have a
beef.
They
prior beef.
Prior with history. So how is that going to be in that locker room? I've even heard, Darvin Ham state, if someone doesn't want to play here, basically they can go about their business because, we going to play defense this year. And so, is Russ is he going to buy in? Is he going to, put all of, the BS to the side with Pat? Or, will we look up in a week or two and, will Russ be out of there? So that would be my number one issue. But besides that, I like to pick up because he'll bring that energy that they need on defense for sure.
Factual. I like it too, y'all. Reverend Crowder, just an FYI, we are working to try to get Patrick Beverly on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, and I'm dead serious. It's possible, so we'll see. He's a Chicago guy, and he's very supportive. So I like this for the Lakers. It can't hurt. I mean, you're 33-49 last year. No disrespect to my boy AD, another Chicago native, but Jamar Goodman calls him Mr. Glass. And they call him Mr. Glass. He batters all the time. He breaks all the time. He's always hurt. And so, at least with Patrick Beverly, you got somebody else that's going to be passionate defensively with LeBron, to try to, do the small things, to win the game. And so it will be an improvement for this Lakers team. They will win more games just from having him in the locker room and on the court. And so can't hurt. I don't know if this makes them a championship contender. I'm not going that far, but I know it at least probably elevates them to being a playoff team now. So I kind of just leave it at that. I just leave it at that. Reverend Crowder, though, let's talk about your Memphis Grizzlies, man. You are from Memphis, Tennessee. And I know you love all sports, especially football, but I know you like some hooping too. And Memphis Grizzlies, man, this team is fun, Reverend Crowder. They got Ja Morant. They got Mr. Bain. They got a bunch of young guys that can jump out the gym, that play hard. They're young. They fight hard. A lot of people felt, Reverend Crowder, that if Ja Morant didn't get hurt last year, that they would have took the Warriors into a serious run last year, like a serious 7-game series to where any mistake, you could have lost that series. That's how people felt last year. Ja Morant even felt if I didn't get hurt, we would have beat y'all last year. We would have won the championship. I love his confidence. I love it to the core. I do believe this team will be around as a serious contender, as a very serious contender. And so we're going to get into that, Reverend Crowder, probably next week or so, maybe a month down the line or so. But we're going to eventually get to our top 5 teams in the NBA heading into next season. But I'm just curious. As a Memphis guy, what do you think this team is missing? Or are they missing anything in the next step of becoming a serious title contender? What else can this team use? Could they use experience, just more experience? Do you feel like it's just that? Do you feel like they need a big man? They need another scorer, another superstar scorer? And me and we savants, we'll help you out here. But what do you think the Grizzlies are missing in order to become that championship threat, that serious championship threat?
3 things. I think you've got to give the nucleus of Morant. He's just 22 years old. You've got Jackson Jr. He's just 22 years old. Bain, 24 years old. Williams, 20 years old. You got to give them enough time to grow, to mature, and to gel as a team, which is going to be vital for the overall franchise's success. So you got to give them time to really come into their own because they are so young. That's number 1. Number 2, got to stay healthy. Even now, Jackson, I think, is out. Jackson Jr. is out until November, December, maybe January. Yep. So got to stay healthy, got to figure that piece out because I agree. I think they would have given the Warriors all they could handle had not Morant got hurt. So got to give the nucleus time to grow into a championship team. Got to stay healthy. The bench, got to get better on the bench. I know they've done that by signing Jones, who can help. But I think there's still there may be a piece or two that will come along, I think, in the coming years. They may be able to find somebody, draft somebody that can help, get that bench a little bit stronger. So I think those are the three things that immediately that I see that can really move this team forward. And I tell you, if they can stay healthy and those young guys get better, which I think they will, watch out. It's going to be what they say. It's going to be whip that trick for real in Memphis if they do that.
Hey, we got to post that, and I like that. For real, man. And Daryl Austin commented in and he stated, Memphis is one more piece away, enough said. And so, he also stated in regards to the Lakers that everyone forgets LBJ can rally the troops, and if AD can stay healthy, they have just as much as a shot as anyone in to win the chip.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. We know that scripture, Reverend Crowder.
Right.
God, all things are possible. And so, I mean, this is possible, Daryl. So it'll be interesting to see, man, how that turns out. But Ian, do you feel that what's the scenario in Memphis? You feel like they just need more experience? They one piece away. What's holding this team back? Could they, I don't know. What you feel like they missing in order to get to that serious championship contention?
I feel like Rev said, maybe the bench can get a little better, but I think the number one thing is, experience. They're young, they 22, 23 years old. And, they put up a hell of a fight, in those playoffs in the season. Even being that impressive without Ja when he got hurt, going, 20-2 without Ja, without your star player? That's pretty impressive. So that just says a lot to the team that they got around him. And they're young, just get them a little bit more experience. They go to the playoff this year, they might take another step farther. So, I think they'll be there in the next couple of years. They just got to keep that core together, but I think they'll be fine. Just get them a little bit more experience, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Tell you, Memphis ain't no joke, Reverend Crowder. They blew out Golden State by like 50 in the playoffs.
Right.
Crazy.
And on their floor.
Like
on their floor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Beat them, you know how it's really hard to win at Golden State alone.
Mm-hmm.
And they just embarrassed them like that on their floor, have people leaving in the second quarter. It's like, okay, so I'm with y'all, man. I'm looking out for this team. At least I'm gonna be on their radar. I'm gonna keep them on my radar. And so guys, the Chicago Sky, gentlemen, we are WNBA fans here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. They are heading into the WNBA semifinals. What has been the other three remaining teams? These other three remaining teams have been, along with Chicago Sky, the best four teams in basketball, guys. The Las Vegas Aces, the Seattle Storm, and Connecticut Sun. Now, I know, of course, guys, as fellow Chicagoans, we all will likely pick the Sky, or at least want them to win. But for the purpose of this question, and I know you guys watch WNBA. We on the Early Morning Sports Talk watch the WNBA. Which of these teams, y'all, you feel like got a chance, the best chance to dethrone the WNBA champions? And so, Ian, I'm going to start off with you, bro. Which of these teams you feel like got the best chance to beat our Sky?
My answer might be a little biased, but I'm going to say the Las Vegas Aces with my girl, Asia Wilson. I think they got the biggest chance. Yeah. She just a dog. She proves a year in, a year out. So, anything is possible. But this team that we got in Chicago, I think we got this nucleus we got is pretty good. I think we're going to make another run back at it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to dethrone us this year.
All right. Yeah, Reverend Crowder, quickly, man, which of these teams you feel like got the best chance to dethrone the WNBA champions?
Yeah, I agree with Ian. It's the Las Vegas Aces. Wife and I, we were watching them. I think it was August the 11th. The Aces beat the Sky in Las Vegas by 11. So if there's anyone that can probably give them some trouble, it'd probably be Las Vegas. But I agree with Ian. I think it's the Sky's year again. So yeah.
Yeah.
As a Chicago Sky fan, I am hoping you guys are right. I tell y'all what, man, these 4 teams, y'all are really good freaking basketball teams. They all really even. They all kind of, if you don't do this right, I'll take advantage of you. But if you do this right, etc. And so the Chicago Sky definitely is one of the best teams. But the Aces, I'm with y'all, man. The Aces have been bullying us. They beat us 2-1 in the regular season. In the one game we beat them, we came back and beat them they were blowing us out by so many points that it was the biggest comeback in WNBA history that we had. And so it shows you the Sky offensive explosion, but it shows you just how good the Aces are. They have felt like, Ian, that they've been robbed. They went to the WNBA finals 2 years ago. They lost in game 5. And then last year, one of the best players in basketball, Kelsey Plum, she got hurt and they lost to the Phoenix Mercury in game 5. So they felt like they was robbed of the championship last year too. And so they felt like, we missing this ring. We need this, like it's our time. It should have been our time. And so they definitely want to send it up with Chicago. And so we'll see. Possibly there could be a clash in the WNBA finals between these 2 best teams. But right now we got to worry about the Connecticut Sun. They will present us with a good challenge, y'all. We will not just run through them. They're going to present. This could be a 5-game series. And so it will be a very serious contender because these are 4 good teams. Las Vegas is going to have their hands full with Seattle, y'all. Seattle got Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart. Y'all remember Gabby Williams that played for she's the best defender in basketball, Gabby Williams. Her, Jewel Lloyd, they got a squad over there. Tina Charles in Seattle. So I know world, y'all might not watch a lot of WNBA, but get your popcorn ready. If you just want to watch good basketball, it's on.
Basketball.
Yep.
I'm telling you, right? And Seattle Storm, Las Vegas Aces, and Chicago Sky, Connecticut Sun. The games tip off tomorrow at 4 p.m. And lastly, the Misery League of Baseball. And the reason why we say the Misery League of Baseball, everybody, is because our White Sox are miserable. They are 4 games, however, Reverend Crowder, this is good news. They're only 4 games out of the lead for first place in the American League Central, which means technically, guys, that we still can make the playoffs. And so I'm just curious, Ian, here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, we are curious to know if this news excites you, man, that we are only 4 games out of first place. How do you feel about this?
It's like we've been 3-4 games out all year. It's like, when are we gonna get over the hump? When we gonna get there? We gonna try to wait till the last couple weeks?
Right.
They try to make a miracle.
Yeah, well, we almost there. The season is dwindling down. It'll be October before you know it. Right. So I'm not too excited now unless they just go on a crazy win streak. Right now, I don't see that. They could, like we just said, anything is possible. But right now, I'm not that excited, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. And so, everyone, that concludes our wonderful conversation here this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. One thing we do every weekend before we head out, Reverend Crowd, is we get final thoughts and shout outs. And so I just want to ask you guys any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend. And then additionally, to let us know of any ventures that you guys got going in general or in the podcast world. So I'll sub in for Jamar, who had to handle some work-related stuff. Sometimes his work can get a little crazy, y'all. That's just between us. And so he got to do what he got to do. And so just curious, Ian, any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Well, I'll be on TPM Sports real soon. I'll keep you guys updated on that. TPM Sports Podcast at Third Media group over there. You got college football starting back today. I know Nebraska and Northwestern plays at 11 or 12. I know they're playing in Ireland, so that should be good. Yeah, I know that should be good. Besides that, I think that's it for me. Everybody have a good, blessed weekend. Stay safe out here. Still got the corona running around and, monkeypox and all that. So that's about it.
Yeah, man. Reverend Crowder. Any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Yeah, had a blast hanging out with y'all today. Brandon, it was a blessing. Ian, man, it's good to meet you.
Likewise.
Love the energy. Jamar, it was just really rich for me to be able to hang with you all this morning. I think my final thought would be the news coming out of Auburn University. Alan Green, brother, has been let go as the athletic director at Auburn. And I think it's significant because Green was the only Black AD in the SEC. Rising star. I think he started. I think he was at Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. Then was an associate there. Then became AD at Buffalo. So really sharp brother, really sharp guy. But Auburn did not re-up him, let him go. I think he was in the final year of the contract, and so it was announced, I think a day or so ago, that they were going ahead with not renewing him and letting him go, just paying out his contract. But I think he'll bounce back because he is a rising star. He is really good at what he does. And then Auburn, of course, that athletic department is a garbage can. So much craziness goes on down there. But I wanted to mention him, Alan Green, former AD at Auburn, rising star in the profession. Now there are, I believe, no Black ADs in the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. So I just want to mention that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Guys. And thank you for putting us up on that, Reverend Crowder. Gotta stop these prejudices and these things that's going on. It's a big problem. Just everybody be safe. Again, the WNBA playoffs, etc. is occurring. Jamar Goodman has a podcast, Destination Fantasy Podcast World. And Reverend Crowder, if you're into fantasy football, him and our fellow brother that was coming this morning, Deshaun Reed Sr., they have a very nice podcast called Destination Fantasy. It airs every Sunday morning. So you got the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast at 7. And then on Sunday, they do the Destination Fantasy podcast. It's very focused on fantasy football. And so that is always something that's good that's going on. And then he also works with No Offense Network. And so as you see, Reverend Crowder, the two guys I got beside me are very experienced guys. They got a lot going, and they do this. And so it's a pleasure to, be along with these guys. And I just want to thank you additionally for being on with us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. It was a pleasure having you on, man. It was a great conversation. And your sports knowledge is off the charts. It was a pleasure chopping it up with you, man. And so, yeah, it was a pleasure chopping it up with you, man. So, world, everybody stay safe. Put the guns down. Put God first. And let love be your guide. We thank you all for joining us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. And may each of you have a blessed weekend. Peace.